We're taking a look at a Walther P22. This is an older model. This isn't a Q, a QD, or a CA, but it is California compliant. What does that mean? Glad you asked. It means this barrel nut has been replaced with one that does not have notches on here for a wrench, and it has been epoxied onto the barrel. What that does is restrict you from removing this barrel nut, which would then expose threads for things like a suppressor. Restricts you from removing this barrel sheath and then the barrel, which would then allow you to swap out for other barrels. None of that with this version. Looking at it from top to bottom, it's got a 3-dot sight. The front sight can be changed out with ones of different height, and the back one can be adjusted for windage, ambidextrous safety on both sides. The safety is a hammer safety. So what that means is this is in fire mode and that is in safe mode. So that bar comes into place and that restricts the hammer from hitting the pin. Another safety feature on here is without a magazine in the gun, pulling the trigger does nothing. You actually need a magazine in the gun in order to pull the trigger, and then even with safety on, the hammer will go forward, but it will not hit the pin. Has a slide lock on one side. Ambidextrous mag release. Came with two 10-round magazines that are steel. They have different base plates on them. This one has a smaller base plate, a little smaller and harder to get a full grip on it, especially if you have larger hands. And then this one has a kind of extended plate on it, so it's a little bit easier to get on there with your pinky. I picked up the Walther Red Laser for this. Just slides onto the rail right here, and it turns on with this button right here. And then it also has these indicators right here to let you know that it's on or off. Another upgrade I did for this is I swapped out the guide rod. The original one that is separated and requires a tool to install it. I'll show how to install that, and I'll show how to install the one I have in here. But first, let's break this down. Pretty easy. Just got to pull this tab here down. That will allow you to pull the slide back and then release it from the frame. And that is it. This is the guide rod I got. I'll go through that. First, let's show how the original one installs. So you get the guide rod. There's a little divot right there. Pop that in. Put the spring over the guide rod. Then put this plastic tool in place. And what you want to do is line up this with this hole right here. As that's going through, line up the barrel. That'll fall away. And just pull it back until it slides into place. And then you can pop this up and good to go. So let's disassemble this and install the captured guide rod. So there are a few different companies that make these captured guide rods for the P22s. This is the Galloway one. So this side, it's all one piece, and then on the other side it's separated. And you can see the guide rod tapers a little bit. It's fatter down here, a little bit skinnier, and I'll show you why. So with the other two brands, they install just by popping the solid side into the divot. And then putting on the slide, but as you can see, the Galloway one is basically the same length as the barrel. So what happens is when you try to line it up with the hole, that is as far as you can go. There's no room to get it on there. So instead, what you have to do is first push this through this hole here. Grab it with your thumb and finger. Slide the barrel on. Now, what you need to do is wiggle this until the back part goes into that divot. Boom, and it'll just snap into place. And then you can pull this and slide this on. One tip I want to point out, while you're assembling this, it's really easy to push this plastic piece up, which will then restrict you from being able to put the slide onto the frame. Just double check that this little tab hasn't popped up. And that is it. In retrospect, if I knew about the additional step with the Galloway one, I probably would have gone with one of the other models, just because those are so easy to install. But it's still a lot easier than playing with these three pieces, so not that big of a hassle. Overall, this is a great little gun. It's a ton of fun to bring to the range. I've shot a lot of different ammo through this, and this thing has had no problems feeding or cycling on anything. So yeah, overall pretty reliable and solid little gun. If you liked the video, please like it and subscribe to the channel. Thanks.